For Darth Sidious, the Clone Wars were a single-player chess game. As the shadowy benefactor of the CIS on one side and the Supreme Chancellor of the Republic on the other, he manipulated events so that the war would play out as he saw fit. Usually, his approach was subtle, but now and then, he acted in more direct ways, taking inconveniences out of the picture entirely. One such intervention happened early in the Clone Wars when Sidious manipulated the outcome of the First Battle of Kamino to kill off a Separatist commander he saw as a threat. This Separatist, the Mon Calamari commander Merai, was such a brilliant strategist that Sidious feared he could end the war too quickly, and in this video, we'll be telling his story.
Attention, Sergeant on deck!
In the decades before the Clone Wars, the water world Mon Calamari, known to its natives as Dak, was a bit of a contentious place. The planet was dominated by two sentient species, the Mon Calamari and the Quarren, and the two of them had a long rivalry stretching back to the day they encountered each other thousands of years ago. The Mon Calamari lived near the surface of the planet's oceans, gaining a reputation across the galaxy as master shipbuilders, while the Quarren lived in the depths, mining ore for the Mon Calamari's use. Exploited by their neighbors whom they hated with a passion, the Quarren fought several wars against the Mon Calamari. By the time of the Clone Wars, the most recent was the Quarren War of 42 BBY. It was in that war that Merai proved himself to be both a valiant warrior and a tactical genius. On Dak, he was considered one of the best commanders of all time, and he was almost single-handedly responsible for ending the Quarren War in the Mon Calamari's favor. He was heralded as a war hero by the Mon Calamari, one of the most decorated officers of the Quarren War. 20 years later, Dak became embroiled in another conflict, the Separatist Crisis, which rapidly blossomed into the Clone Wars. Originally, the planet remained loyal to the Republic, but after the Quarren Senator Tikez jumped ship and joined the Confederacy, Dak was divided between loyalists and separatists. Most of the Mon Calamari remained loyal to the Republic, and they replaced Tikez with another Quarren, Tundra Dalmia, in a bid to get their neighbors on their side. But most of the Quarren sided with Tikez. They formed the Quarren Isolation League and the Free Dak Volunteer Engineering Corps, playing a vital role in the Clone Wars on the side of the CIS. As most of you probably know, Dak was the site of two conflicts between the Quarren and the Mon Calamari during the Clone Wars. In these battles, the two species split across galactic partisan lines, with the Quarren calling in droid troops from the CIS and the Mon Calamari requesting aid from the Republic. In both battles, the Mon Calamari, and by extension the Republic, emerged victorious. These victories were possible primarily because of the species lines the battles were fought along. In other words, because the Mon Calamari were Republic allies and the Mon Calamari were stronger militarily than the Quarren, the Republic won. But if Merai had lived to see either battle, things might have gone much differently. That's because, despite being Mon Calamari, Merai was a staunch separatist. Even as the Quarren he had bested 20 years ago entered talks with Count Dooku, Merai was in talks with Pasul Argente of the Corporate Alliance, who was looking to recruit him to lead an attack on Naboo. Merai agreed in the hope that his actions would inspire other Mon Calamari to side with the Separatists, bringing Dak into the Confederacy. He was revered enough that, had he lived a little longer, he could have led a much larger Mon Calamari Separatist faction, likely giving the CIS full control of one of the galaxy's greatest shipyards. This, combined with his tactical brilliance, made him a serious destabilizing force for Darth Sidious's plans. Pasul Argente, Mirai's benefactor, was also seen as a threat by Sidious, as he was ambitious and sought to usurp Count Dooku's place as leader of the Confederacy. At length, Sidious decided to deal with both threats in one fell swoop. Thus, Sidious engineered the first Battle of Kamino. He leaked top-secret intel about Tipoca City and its defenses to Argente, and he and Merai promptly launched an attack on the GAR's homeworld. Since Merai was from an ocean planet, Argente figured that he was an ideal choice to lead the assault on watery Kamino, even though their battle plan didn't call for aquatic combat. Instead, Merai planned to take the Republic forces by surprise, pin the defenders down into Tipoca City, and destroy the city's main reactor from above, crippling the Grand Army of the Republic. Merai led the offensive personally from the bridge of a Lucrehulk-class battleship, which was crewed by a team of Mon Calamari loyal to him alone. At first, the battle went well. Mirai's initial assault overwhelmed Kamino's Jedi defenders, and his droid armies made rapid progress into Poker City, gunning down the city's defenders left and right. But unbeknownst to Merai, the Republic had reinforcements waiting in the wings, as the Jedi Council had been tipped off about the attack before it began. The arrival of Republic naval reinforcements and the deployment of ARC troopers in the city began to turn the tide of the battle. Mirai's ground forces were repulsed by the efforts of the ARCs, and his ships were crippled by the Republic's reinforcement fleet. As his ship began to fall apart around him, Merai rushed to the hangar and hopped into his personal starfighter, the Shark, a unique amphibious craft capable of operation in space, atmosphere, and the deep sea. He escaped his crippled battleship, but he made no attempt to retreat. Instead, he headed straight for Poker City. Even as his plans started to go sideways, Commander Merai refused to accept defeat. He flew the Shark down into the sea beneath Poker City, planning to take out the city's main reactor personally, using the plans of the city Argente had given him. When Merai arrived at the spot where the reactor was meant to be, however, he found nothing. The plans Sidious had given Argente, which Argente had supplied to Merai, were forged. The whole battle was a trap, and Merai had walked right into it. He realized this, but by that point, it was too late. When the Shark surfaced, Merai was immediately swarmed by Jedi starfighters. His ground armies were retreating from Poker City, and his fleet was at a breaking point. Seeing no other option, Merai ordered his ships to retreat while he took out one last objective. He sped into orbit, evading the Jedi starfighters as he went, making for the hyperdrive rings they had arrived in. When he reached the hyperdrive rings, Merai triggered the Shark's self-destruct, killing himself and destroying the rings in the process. In doing so, he effectively covered his fleet's retreat, drawing the Jedi away and preventing them from pursuing. Merai died saving the lives of his remaining crew, but his sacrifice meant little in the grand scheme of things, especially next to the damage his death did to the Confederacy. With Merai gone, the threat of Separatist Mon Calamari evaporated, and Sidious could rest assured that the Clone Wars would be long and drawn out. Sidious also succeeded in taking Pascal Argente down a peg, making him responsible for the disaster at Kamino and Mirai's death. All would proceed according to plan. Commander Merai was a tactical genius, a legend who could have changed the course of the Clone Wars. The strategic and political contributions he could have made to the Confederacy would have been invaluable. But Merai was tricked by the real power behind the Clone Wars, and because of that, he ended up as a mere footnote in the history books, made into just another dead Separatist in Darth Sidious's proxy war. With him gone, the Mon Calamari consolidated under the Loyalist banner, and when the Clone Wars came to Dak, the Republic came out on top. So that was the tale of Commander Merai, the Separatist Mon Calamari genius you've probably never heard of. Merai comes from the Star Wars Republic comics, which you should totally check out if you haven't already. But what do you think? Are there other lesser known commanders of the Clone Wars you'd like to see videos on? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section below. And as always guys, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.